easier slides to pick out for this unit because, of course, you have all of these little circular structures in here, right? You can see those and those. And those are what? Those are glomeruli, right? Multiple, one is a glomerulus, multiple glomeruli. You can also see a lot of the other duct work for the proximal and distal convoluted tubules, and in some cases even collecting ducts out in here. So I think this is a really good slide to be able to see, to be able to tell what you're looking at under the microscope right away. Oh, what did I do? That's not what I wanted to do. I want to take a snapshot. Okay. So these are the glomeruli, right? Right in here and here and here, and these are all of the tubules. Out in here, this would be the what? Capsule. This is the capsule. And as I'm moving, right, you can see that it, oh, maybe you can't see because I didn't do that very well. You can see, oh goodness gracious, where did I go? You can see that it changes, right? So you enter areas where you have a lot of very parallel-like structures that are all running this way. These are all tubules or like collecting ducts or loops of Henle that are all running very parallel, and they've been sectioned in a longitudinal section, so you're seeing the length of them as opposed to them in cross-section. All of these little circles are the tubes, the ducts in cross-section, right? So you'll get a little bit of both in these sections of these tissues. And you can tell that this area is now the medulla. There's no glomeruli. There's a lot of parallel structures. And you can continue this even on so far as to get to this area where you have all of these looking structures here. Oh, and you're kind of like at the tip, right? So right in here, this is a papilla at this point right in here. Okay, so this is the medulla. These right in here would be what? Those are papillary ducts. And a papillary duct is just, let me do this before I forget. A papillary duct is just a continuation of a collecting duct, right? A collecting duct becomes a papillary duct as it runs through the renal papilla. Does that sound all right? Okay. What would you find in a papillary duct? What would be in here? Urine. Okay. This area right here is this space around the renal papilla, the tip of the pyramid. And down in here, this is a section of one of the calyces. Okay, you can kind of see it up in here. This is part of a minor calyx or minor calyx. Again, calyx is English, British, American British, I should say. They're all English. It's tricky to kind of wrap your head around which one is the correct terminology. So calyx, they're kind of interchangeable. The reason you can tell, or the way you can tell this is part of a minor calyx, is that it has this epithelium, and the epithelium you'll see from this line up. And we're going to see that it's a transitional type of epithelium. It's transitional epithelium. And then you can see out here, this is all adipose tissue. The kidneys are surrounded by a lot of adipose for that protection, that extra protection. Okay. So taking this up a little bit more detail, and I'm going to show you some of these features. Okay, you've got your papillary ducts there. And here you can see that this is again the minor calyx, and this is great transitional epithelium from here on up. And I don't know if you're in my class, if you weren't in my class, you know, transitional epithelium is just layers of cells, where the cells at the apical surface are, I think of them as very fluffy. To me, they look like big giant pillows, very soft and fluffy. But the reason they're so full of cytoplasm up in the apical layers is because they can be compressed, they can be squished, essentially. And in this case, they're compressed by the urine volume that fills this area. Okay, so within a lot of this urinary tract, you're going to see this transitional epithelium for the purpose of allowing that compression and ability to fill with fluid. Okay? All right. Let's see. I'm going backwards. So I hope that didn't make you too sick. Okay, we're going to look back here in the cortex for a moment. And I'm going to see, oh, this one's fantastic. Let's just talk about this one right here. And I forget you guys don't have a pointer in your field of view. Let's do this. Okay, so this right in here, what is this? This is a glomerulus, and this is another glomerulus. And can you see the white space around it? That is what? The capsular space. And do you see these little cells right here? They're very, very flattened. This is what? These are not the feed cells. This is the parietal layer of the Bowman's capsule. So this is like what catches the filtrate, right? It's kind of like the sac around the glomerulus that catches the filtrate. The visceral layer of the Bowman's capsule are those podocytes, they're one and the same, but they are sitting on top of the glomerular capillaries. So they're actually intertwined here with these cells. You won't be able to identify the difference between the two. I'm going to take this up in magnification in a moment, so I'll show you a little bit more of that. But I do want to show you before I leave here a couple things. Can you see? Can you see the difference between this structure here and, let's say, this structure here? Okay. This one looks really fuzzy, and this one has a nice clear lumen, right? Which makes this what? Proximal convoluted tubule, and this is the distal convoluted tubule. So what is this? Proximal convoluted tubule, and this? Proximal convoluted tubule, and this? Distal convoluted tubule. Distal. You can tell by the presence of those microvilli whether or not they look fuzzy, lumened on the inside. Okay? The other thing I want to point out, and actually I think I'm just going to take this up in a little bit more magnification to be able to show you this well, because this one has a pretty good one. Don't go. Okay. Okay. Can you all see okay if I'm pointing with this arrow? My light doesn't stay lit on my pointer long enough to point at anything for a long period of time. So this right here is what? Glomerulus. What is this? Proximal convoluted tubule, and this? Distal convoluted tubule? Distal. This is a longitudinal section of a proximal convoluted tubule. The reason why I want to pull this up in a little bit more detail is I want to look at this distal convoluted tubule right here. And you can see that the cells right here that line the wall of this tubule, they're kind of a little bit more tightly packed, densely packed together. They're usually a little bit taller than their counterpart on the other side. These are macula densa cells. So I have this picture, and I'm going to look for another one that may be a little bit better than this. But the way I've always learned it is macula densa cells are found in the distal convoluted tubule. I think the new understanding is they're anywhere between the distal convoluted tubule and the distal part of the ascending limb of the loop of Henle. That to me is like a lot of words, right? So I always tend to think if you're looking at the macula densa, it's like at the end of the loop of Henle, the beginning of the distal convoluted tubule. Okay, that's why you can see distal convoluted tubule here with the macula densa inside. Does that make sense? Okay. The other thing I want to point out is this is what? Capsular space. What would you find there? What would be inside? Filtrate. You see these cells here? That's the parietal layer of the Bowman's capsule. Those cells right there are simple squamous epithelium, really, really flat one layer cells. And this is the glomerulus. What is the glomerulus made of?
Capillary.
Capillary beds, glomerular capillaries. So what would you find inside?
Blood.
Blood. Okay, that's pretty straightforward, right? Okay, bear with me for a moment. Oh, here's another really good one. Yeah, this one's really good. I'll take it. Oh, Yanni, this is exciting stuff. These little glomeruli are working hard for you right now. All right, so this is what? Glomerulus, this is capsular space. This simple squamous epithelial layer is the parietal layer of the Bowman's capsule. This is what? Distal convoluted tubule. And you can see those cells that are packed together right there. What are they? Macula densa cells. What is this? Proximal convoluted tubule. What is this? Distal convoluted tubule. What is this? Proximal convoluted tubule. What is the job of the macula densa cells? They are chemoreceptors. They monitor the concentration of something in the filtrate.
Sodium chloride.
Sodium chloride. And we're going to talk about them next time and how they're very important at monitoring how much filtrate is being made by monitoring the amount of sodium and chloride that's left in the filtrate at the end of the nephron. Okay. Questions on this? Ureter, we got the ureter, the first part of the We didn't see the ureter, but we saw the first part of the calyx here with the transitional epithelium. We got everything else, right? Not bad. Collecting ducts, papillary ducts, collecting ducts running through the medulla. Okay. Okay, do you guys want to do the other two, even though we haven't talked about those organs yet? Ureter and bladder? Let's do it. So as far as that kidney slide goes, I like the older kidney slide better than the newer one that's in your box, and now I'm going to put the new one in the box up. Oh, well, that's no fun.